I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
I wouldn't say Israel's plan is to kill every single person in Gaza.
Was it? No, just to drive them away.
What do you mean drive them away?
I don't know how. Who knows the plan? I don't know.
You just made that up though.
I don't know the plan.
To drive. Okay.
I don't know the plan. All I know is that they use any excuse of self-defense to kill people, men, women, and children, and it's acted like it's a war when it's not. It's killing. It's genocide. Quran that he's come with is from God, and then when I read the Quran and the Quran makes the claims, it is indeed from God. When the Quran warns of reminds us of the past, guidance for the present, and warns us of the future, and the guidance within Islam fits 21st century man like a glove, like nothing else does. The only man in history who ever claimed to come for the whole world was Muhammad. No other messenger from God ever made that claim. So I'm an Englishman. Why would I need to listen to Jesus, for example, when his message wasn't for the whole world? His message was for the children of Israel, as he declared, according to their scripture. Right. So the only one I need to listen to is Muhammad, and is he telling the truth or not? And obviously after the intellect investigation, you come to the conclusion, well, actually, he was known for 40 years as a truthful one. Why would he lie? What would his motivation be? Then you look at, well, even if he had the motivation to do so, did he have the capacity to do what he's accused of? Did he have the capacity to come up with the Quran over 23 years as an illiterate man? Nah, probably not. And then we see the preservation in the Quran and how Allah says in the Quran will preserve it, and inshallah, alhamdulillah, 1400 years later we have a preserved book. So which part of that would you try to challenge?
So I'm guessing one of the central claims would be that the Quran could not have come from Muhammad.
Yes.
So are you saying it's impossible?
Yes.
So impossible why?
I don't believe he had the capacity to do it.
Not just very, 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 very unlikely, right? You would have to go with impossible.
Yeah, I would go with impossible.
Right. So why?
Because we believe he's an illiterate man.
But the Quran wasn't. He didn't. No one claims that he wrote it. He spoke it.
He authored it.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, illiterate would mean he can't read.
Well, where'd you get the information from to cite? For example, if you
he was a smart man, I'm assuming. He was a.
How did he know what the oral traditions of the Jews and the apocryphal books of the Christians and the Old and New Testament?
There weren't Jews in Arabia?
No, how did he know them?
Were they not around?
Well, there's no Arabian Old Testament.
But there were Jews in Arabia, many Jewish tribes,
yeah.
Right? And there were Christian tribes.
So if he was taking secret teachers, the people around him would have seen him doing this.
Right. Well, he just heard stuff, picked stuff up, right? Wasn't he?
He just heard stuff over 23 years and regurgitated.
A business person, didn't he involve? Wasn't that his job?
What's that?
His job?
What?
Wasn't he like a tradesman? Like, did he trade? I mean, I'm no expert.
Yeah, you're trying to tell me like you're an expert.
No, I'm asking.
You seem to know.
I'm asking.
You seem to know.
What was his
I think he used to. I think he used to. If I'm not wrong, he used to herd the sheep for his wife Khadija.
Right. Didn't he marry a rich businesswoman?
Yes.
So okay. I mean, I don't know.
So what does that have to do with it?
Couldn't you? Well, I could just say it's possible that he authored the Quran. Not even very likely at all. But you'd have to say no. It's literally impossible.
No. It's very, very simple. In life, we deal with probabilities, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know it's possible for you to walk through a wall if all of your atoms lined up with the atoms of that wall. You could walk through it. It's possible. Would you agree?
Yes, we've never had any experience of that, whereas people writing books, we have had.
Is it possible? Possible.
Right, but we have experience of writing
No, but is it possible?
Yeah, sure.
Right, so that's not impossible. Okay. So the point here is this. I would have to put everything on its merit. So I'd have to ask myself, why is this guy making this stuff up? Why is he pretending that he's a messenger of God?
Right.
Why is he lying? Why is he taking persecution for it? Right. Why are the people that follow him suffering for it? If he was getting this secret information, why did nobody around him say, hey, he's getting that information there? Why did none of his enemies say that? Why when the poets were sent to listen to the Quran, they came back and said this is sorcery? Why did they think that the Quran was supernatural?
That they thought the Quran was sorcery?
Because they'd never heard Arabic like this.
Right.
They'd never heard Arabic like exquisite as that.
Right.
From an illiterate man.
So I know the Quran has a challenge in it.
Produce something like it.
A chapter like
for the Arabs.
Right.
And for you, find the contradictions and errors.
Right. Well, it didn't have contradictions.
I think so.
Are you guys? Sorry. I think you're having a general chat.
No, I think he's baiting me.
So I'm not sure I really buy the seriousness of the challenge.
Who cares?
Because I don't know what that even means. I'm not sure anyone.
You don't know what it means.
Quran, or the challenge of bring a chapter like
Well, that's for the Arabs.
What does that mean, like it?
I don't know. Produce something in the way it's produced with style, meaning, and grammar, the way the Quran has been done. I don't know. The challenge is for the Arab poets, not me.
But wouldn't you never? You'll never accept it, right? If an Arab poet did write something,
well, I don't know. Have they tried?
People thought was beautiful.
Have they tried? There's plenty of Arab Christians.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
No, that's what I mean. The challenge isn't.
Well, I'm sure they'd be shouting from the rooftops if they had produced something like it.
Right. But I just imagine.
You can imagine as you like.
You're not going to accept it anyway.
You can imagine what you like.
Right.
Who cares what you imagine?
Well, I mean, the challenge itself. I'm trying to understand where the challenge is really coming from.
Who cares whether you understand where the challenge is coming from? Because you're not an Arab, and the challenge is not for you.
No.
But ask the Arab Christians, have you met the challenge?
Right. Well, they may say yes, and you're obviously going to say no.
Well, you could ask how they've met the challenge, and we can see whether they have met the challenge or not. Like I said, I'm not an Arab. That challenge is not for me. My challenge is this: find the errors and contradictions.
So let's say I said there were no contradictions in it. That doesn't mean it's obviously. I'm not going to mean it's from God because it has no contradictions.
Yeah. Right. So I believe the Prophet had revelation from an angel.
Right.
Received that revelation over 23 years,
right.
claiming to be from God. Right. I believe that. Standard.
Right. But I mean, are you saying he couldn't have authored a word or a sentence, a chapter?
I believe what he said, he did.
Right. I'm just trying to get into this because I've heard this argument before about.
It's not an argument.
Okay.
You're asking me why I believe a certain thing,
I've heard
and I'm telling you.
I've heard you don't use the word argument. I've heard the series of statements put forward to persuade someone before.
No. I'm not here to persuade you of nothing.
You're not.
Very simple. No. I don't know who you are. What do you believe?
Well, don't you want to persuade me? I don't know.
Why? I don't know. What do you believe? Are you Christian?
No.
Are you an atheist?
I would say Jewish by background, but non-religious.
Right. Do you believe in God?
More likely yes than no.
More likely yes than no.
Yes.
That's fair enough.
But
okay. So you're asking me why I believe something to be true. Now, if you want to make claims that he did this and he did that and he could have done that and this whatever, produce your evidence. And then the lightning bolt. But it's just assumptions. It's just your claims. Yeah. His enemies didn't say what you're saying. You see.
Right.
So we got to ascertain why his enemies didn't say these things you're saying. Right. Why did when the poets were saying, why did they come back thinking this Quran was sorcery? Why is it when we hear the Quran recited and we hear Arabic recited, it sounds completely different? We know when we hear a hadith in Arabic and we hear the Quran in Arabic, we know which is Quran. Why is this?
I mean, I don't know.
How did the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, in 23 years, come up with this Quran in such a way, making it rhyme, making it all, making claims with regards to the people of the past, talking about other religions, where's he getting the information from? And then how is he orchestrating and mashing it around in his brain?
Well, yeah. I mean, I understand the point you're making. It's just a much bigger leap for me to be like, well, could he possibly have heard it? Because he was a human being. He was
over 23 years. He heard it.
Heard what? I mean, what couldn't he have possibly ever
have you ever
heard
studied
or
the
imagined?
Challenge? Okay, you know what's probably good for you?
I'm not an expert, obviously.
No. There's a book called The Eternal Challenge, written by a brother called Abu Zakaria.
Okay.
That might be a very good book for you to read. So that goes through the claim of the Quran.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard other Muslims make the.
No. But there's a book called The Eternal Challenge.
Sure.
So if you read that book, that will make you understand more why it's believed to be what it's claimed to be.
Right.
Now, what takes things further is what does Islam teach? And it seems that the author of the Quran seems to know human beings better than we know ourselves. Knows what harms us, knows what benefits us, knows what to stay away from, what to run towards.
Right.
Yeah. For me, that's uncanny in the 21st century that a book written 1400 years ago can fit me and my lifestyle like a glove today, like nothing else can.
I don't know whether that impresses me too much. I mean,
well, it's up to you.
They were still humans back then, 1400 years ago, like us. They had many of the same basic problems, right?
No, we'll talk about the guidance of the do's and the don'ts, if you like.
Right. Yeah. Like moral laws.
Yes. So in Islam, we get through God, we get the objective morality.
Yeah, but you'd agree that wasn't. I don't know how much new there is morally in Islam compared to Christianity, Judaism, what in those books.
You don't know?
Morally? Well, I'm assuming 10 Commandments, right? The basics.
Well, everything. I'm talking about in Islam.
Yeah.
It's a full way of life. Everything we do, the way we use a toilet,
Oh, of course.
the way we socialise with our families, the way we interact with people, the way we do business, the way we interact in society.
No, of course.
Yeah, the way we deal with the poisons within society, the drugs, the alcohol, the gambling. You guys are endorsing it. You guys are loving it. Your Jewish ancestors will not deal in usury amongst yourselves, but you'll do it with the goyim. You'll do it with the non-Jews. It's not a problem. Yeah, you'll forgive the debts of your fellow Jews, but you don't forgive the debts of the goyim. We know this. This is the reality. Okay, so in Islam we don't deal in usury either.
No, yeah,
but across the board, we don't. It's not ethno. Yeah. Beautiful thing about Islam, it unites everybody. It unites classes. It unites sexes. It unites nationalities, and even religions. Because your Jewish ancestors, even though you're not a practicing, your Jewish ancestors only survived because of the Muslims in Andalusia. Because the Christians were wiping you out, and who protected you for 800 years? The Muslims.
Well, okay, I'm not going to talk about history. Obviously,
no, I am.
There were good parts and there were bad parts.
No, I am. No, I'm telling you about history. For 800 years, the Jews would have been wiped out if it were not for the Muslim protection.
And there were bad parts where they got along.
Well,
I mean, I'm sure you're aware. I mean, I've heard.
See, these guys know.
Okay.
You guys know, don't you?
Well,
you know that if it wasn't for Islam, you guys would have been wiped out in Europe.
We are grateful for the many good parts that where Muslims gave us a safe haven. At the same time, we can't forget the other parts.
But let's just say safe haven. We're talking 800 years.
800 years in certain countries. Let's keep it in context.
Yeah, Andalusia.
In context, that means that we had great
in which
times
country?
in Spain.
In which country?
Spain.
Well, it wasn't a country, was it? What was it? It was Islamic State.
Yeah, it was an Islamic State.
So within the Islamic State.
But let's not forget that the same period you had many Islamic countries, not the Islamic State. Many.
We're talking
like Morocco and.
You want to talk? Well,
let's go into detail. Let's focus on the good part. The good part is most of the time we had a great time.
What I'm explaining to him that his ancestors, they were protected and survived the Christian onslaught in Europe for 800 years. The golden age of Jewry was at that time. It's where your civilization flourished. And when it came for the time when the Queen Isabella and Ferdinand returned and they pushed the Muslims out of Spain, what did you guys do?
Yes.
No, what did you do? Tell everyone what you said.
We had no option but to leave.
No, what did you do?
We went to Muslim countries.
No, you asked the Muslims, can we come with you? Because the Muslims retreated back to Morocco and give the jizya back, said we can't protect you no more, and come with us. And invited them to come to Morocco, and that's where they got sanctuary from what was going on.
The simple fact is this: on the link history, we had great times under Muslim rule.
Islamic State is the key words we're using here, not Muslim country. Islamic State under the state.
And then again, under the Ottoman Empire.
Disputing any of this.
As well as under the Ottoman Empire. But yes, history is dotted, sadly, that the Muslims suffered as well on the many.
Muslims are suffering today in Israel.
I'm talking about Muslims on the Muslim countries as well.
No, I'm talking about Muslims in Israel. They're suffering.
Now we're going into politics. Let's leave that.
They're suffering the least that they suffer in any other country.
Say it again, sorry?
They're suffering the least that they
Tell that to
suffer
people in
any
Gaza.
What?
Tell that to the people of Gaza.
Compare them to how Muslims are suffering in different
Okay, compare that to the Muslims in Morocco.
I'm telling you, you highlighted Israel.
What you just said is that the Muslims are suffering less in Gaza than anywhere else in the world.
Not anywhere less.
Where?
I just said you picked up Israel as an example where Muslims are suffering, whilst there are many, many more Muslims suffering in Islamic countries.
Than Gaza.
I don't know, more or less, but there's millions of Muslims.
The world's biggest prison, Gaza.
It's not a prison.
Perpetrated.
It is a prison.
Perpetrated by
sorry. It's not a prison. Can they leave the country?
Well, there's a reason.
Can they leave the country?
The question. Okay.
Can they leave the country? Can I fly to Gaza? No, I understand that. Can I fly to Gaza?
You were looking for an example where Muslims are suffering.
No.
And for some reason, from the entire Middle East, where in most Middle Eastern countries, Muslims are suffering from Muslims, you picked up where a small minority are suffering from Jews. So
yes.
It's quite a strange thing.
I do not believe Gaza is a small minority.
It is.
But
I believe it's men, women and children in an open-air prison.
But with who? And that's the focus as well. They're prisoned by who? One side Israel, one side. One side Israel, one side.
It's Egypt.
Egypt.
And who's telling Egypt what to do?
Oh, they listen to me.
Why is Egypt not telling Israel what to do?
Well, who controls that area?
What do you mean? Israel can't tell Egypt what to do.
Israel can't tell Egypt what to do.
It's in their benefit. It's in their benefit to keep the border shut there.
Why?
It's in their benefit because they don't want the people from Gaza to come into Egypt.
Oh, okay. Can I fly to Gaza? No.
What do you mean? You can get into Gaza if you get a pyramid, yes.
There's a proper...
No, can I fly into Gaza? Gaza
Through an
airport?
airport?
No.
Right.
Okay.
Can I go by boat into
Let me
Gaza?
ask you, can you fly into Kabul? Can you fly into Kabul?
Now?
Yes.
Well, come on. We know what's going on in Kabul at the moment, isn't it?
So is Kabul a prison? So is Afghanistan a prison now?
Why would it be a prison now?
Because a place where you can't fly in is a
Why
prison.
can't I fly in there now?
I'm asking you.
No, why can't I fly in there now?
I'm asking you, can you fly into Kabul?
No, why can't I?
So tell me why.
All right, no, I can't. Why can't I?
can't you?
Oh, okay, why
I'll tell
can't
you
I?
why.
Maybe shut up long enough, I'll tell you.
Okay, you don't have to use foul language.
Well, I know.
Carry on.
I didn't use foul language.
Okay.
Okay, so I can't fly to Kabul right now because protecting the airport is US soldiers, and outside of Kabul are Taliban. Okay, now everyone's leaving at the moment. The US Army is facilitating people leaving. Okay, there will come a time when I can fly to Kabul. When the US have finally left and the Taliban have complete control, then you can fly to Kabul, yes.
Right.
When can I fly to Gaza?
What?
When can I fly to Gaza?
When they'll start behaving.
When they start behaving?
Yes. When Israel gave back Gaza, I'm actually, personally, I'm not a supporter of Israel, but when Israel gave back Gaza to the Palestinian people, it wasn't a prison. They turned it into a prison after they were using it as a springboard to attack Israel.
No,
if you
not
know
at
history,
all.
and it's not ancient history, it's modern history from the last 20 years.
Listen,
You're
acting like it's equal on each side. It's an occupied force.
I just told you something.
Absolutely. Listen. What happened in Nazi Germany is happening in Gaza.
I disagree with
No
it.
difference.
I disagree with that comparison.
Complete difference.
I find
That
it,
means
I find
that,
it,
that could be-
completely the same.
That means that just tells us one thing.
What's that?
You
You're
might
ignorant.
know what's going on in Gaza.
I
but
don't
you have
know.
no idea what Nazi Germany was all about.
Why?
and shame on you.
If you can make this comparison.
Why not?
That's why.
Why not?
Why, if you make this comparison, you've told all the people standing
Yes.
here that you don't have an inkling about history or stuff that happened not 500 years ago, but 60, 70 years ago.
Yes.
That's it, simple.
I think it's the same.
What?
I don't see the difference.
Okay.
I see.
Then
Then you got,
I see the
then you
treatment.
got a
That's what-
very warped mindset.
Right.
That's my personal
Right.
opinion.
Okay,
Because
yes.
if you see a genocide of 6 million people
Okay.
for what they
The
believe,
mind-
one
no,
second,
mindset, mate.
let
Mindset,
me
mate.
finish. When you're going to talk
Go on.
about Germany and
Yeah,
Nazi Germany
yeah, go on.
and the Holocaust,
Yeah.
I have the right to talk without being
Why?
interrupted.
Why do you have the right to talk without being interrupted?
You know what? Interrupt and enjoy the conversation. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Alternative history.
Yeah. Gaza's not a prison. Yeah. Cheers, lads.
In what way? Sorry. In what ways?
I'm asking you one thing. Was Gaza a prison when Israel returned it? Just answer me that question. Yes or no?
Israel returned what? It didn't belong to them.
You didn't answer the question.
Okay,
answer
Israel
the question. Was it a
Israel
prison
are
or not?
occupying land illegally. Why
You're not
the
answering the
international
question.
community
You're
is
not- you were
ignoring it,
talking
I
about
don't
a particular
know.
subject about a prison. So answer, if it was a prison,
Okay, what's a prison?
a place where you can't fly in with an airplane.
No,
The
a
latest
prison is
definition.
where you cannot leave and return at your own free will.
Yes, that's
Right, there you go.
So I'm asking
Job
you
done.
one thing. Was it a
Job
prison?
done.
Was the status in Gaza the same?
I thought you guys were going.
Was the status? I know you would like us to go now. It makes sense. All right, have a good one.
But in what way was why they got angry? In what way?
Why? Because I liken the way that the Israelis are treating the Palestinians is the way that they were treated in Nazi Germany. The same
way?
In the way that they. What do you mean? What examples? How were they treated in Nazi Germany?
Well, in the end, they were killed. But
No. How did it start? It didn't start that way, did it?
Yeah, it started.
Started Hermann Göring, big noses,
discrimination.
cartoons. Yeah,
Discrimination.
dehumanized.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So what happens? Once you dehumanize a people, you can do what you like to them. Why do you think when Israel were attacking Gaza, there was Israeli citizens all having parties watching the place burn? Burn Gaza, burn.
There wasn't.
Wasn't it?
I mean, no.
No?
There was that as much as that as there is of anything else.
There wasn't. There wasn't settees brought them to the mountain so they could see the blaze. Really?
Maybe there was. I don't know.
You know, see them celebrating when Masjid al-Aqsa was on fire.
But actually they weren't celebrating that because.
I know. They celebrated something else, which got caught up in that. I know that.
Yeah.
I don't mean they would do that whole celebration was because Masjid al-Aqsa was on fire.
Yeah.
They were celebrating some other particular day that was going on, and Masjid al-Aqsa happened to be on fire, and they joined in that.
Yeah.
I know. Is it? What's the point?
But again, the question
Is Gaza a prison or not?
Gaza is an open-air prison. Yeah.
Is it an open-air prison?
It is, yeah.
We agree.
I don't disagree on that.
So what are you here to argue against?
I'm here to argue against basically what you said about the Nazis how they treated the Jews, or Germany how it treated the Jews.
Yeah, so if you look at Hermann Goering and what he did, the cartoons, the propaganda, you know, all the pictures of cartoons with big noses and all this kind of stuff, creating this idea that these people will lessen you. Then you had them saying that they're threatened us economically after the First World War and all of this stuff and the Great Depression, and these are the people responsible. The Jews didn't help themselves by declaring economic war on Germany. They didn't help themselves in that aspect.
That's true.
But what's happened there is happening to the Muslims today. Yeah?
Where? Which Muslims?
All Muslims. Muslims in France. Muslims in France, right, where women are told to strip on the beaches. Yeah. Muslims in France, where young girls can't choose to wear a scarf, yet they can have sex with a 15-year-old when they're 15. Yeah. This is what I'm saying to you. And I hear all these people going, "Oh, the Taliban! Oh, the Taliban! Oh, the women's rights! The women's rights!" Where's the rights of the women of France?
I agree with that.
Where's the compassion? Where's the call out? Where's all these feminists?
I agree with that.
Not even seen, mate. So the point here is this: this is double standards, and when double standards occur, this is what happens. You dehumanize the people, that you can do what you like with them.
Yeah. No, I think the reason why they're so upset, they probably had maybe ancestors who were killed in the Holocaust.
Okay, am I saying the Holocaust was a good thing? Am I
no, but you're
glorifying it?
comparing it to what's happening in Gaza. Although what's happening in Gaza is terrible, it's not. There's a lot of things like oppression, a lot of words, but one thing it isn't, and I disagree with, is the claim that a lot of people make, is genocide, which it isn't.
Oh, it's not genocide?
No.
Why not?
Because a genocide is when you systematically kill a population.
Right. So when you go in with tanks and airplanes and say, who are you killing?
It hasn't gone in with tanks, actually.
They haven't gone in with tanks?
Not for a long time, no.
Oh, no, so they're going with F-16s instead?
No.
No?
No,
what are they going with?
It's mainly with airstrikes, actually.
All right, airstrikes, dropping bombs on who?
Yeah.
Killing who?
Terrorists, and a lot of people get killed.
Who said the terrorists?
I mean, call it what you like. But
No, I'll call it what you said it. Who said the terrorists?
I don't know if they're terrorists, as per se.
You see the dead bodies of women and children, you call them terrorists?
Not them.
Oh, not them. How does the bomb discriminate who to kill?
It doesn't.
Right, so...
I never said it does.
So it is killing men, women and children indiscriminately?
Not indiscriminately.
Well, it is
I don't know. It's killing them in order to kill Hamas militants.
Listen.
Yeah.
You speak to any Zionist, they want Gaza gone.
What do you mean gone?
Gone. They want the land. The Greater Israel. That's the plan.
Not true. Not all Zionists want that.
What's the Zionist plan?
First of all, you can't, and this is the problem that I saw lots of people make. You can't.
Are you Jewish?
What?
Are you Jewish?
Doesn't matter what I am. What's got to do with it?
Okay, that's a yes. Go on, carry on.
A lot of people hold Zionism and treat it like a religion. Let's say the religion of Islam. Yeah. So if it says something in the Quran, if you say something against that, it means you're not Muslim, right?
Go on.
Yeah. But Zionists, if they say something against the doctrine of one of the founding fathers of Zionism, doesn't mean you're not a Zionist, because it's not a religion, Zionism. So you can't hold it to the same standard.
Oh, okay. What's the Zionist dream?
There's not one specific dream.
Is it not?
I would say by definition it means self-determination to Jewish people.
What countries are included in Greater Israel?
In Greater Israel,
in the plan.
It's until Mesopotamia.
To where?
Until Mesopotamia. No?
Where's that?
That's modern-day Iraq.
Right, and where Palestine is? In Gaza?
That as well.
That as well?
Yeah, but I would say most Zionists don't actually want all of that.
Well, forgive me. I've seen.
What have you seen?
I've seen the Zionists on the streets chanting this stuff.
Yeah, a few people.
No, crowds.
Crowds of a few people. There's 8 million people.
Public opinion.
There's 8 or 7 million.
I didn't see the crowds against it.
Actually, there are.
No, I didn't see the crowds.
Okay, but there are.
But I didn't see them.
Okay, so what? Doesn't mean that they're not.
Okay, so the Zionist plan is to occupy all that land. They've put them all into one place.
Which land? Not Greater Israel. That's not the Zionist plan. And most Zionists actually don't have those lofty aspirations.
Okay. Why are they building all the settlements in the West Bank when it's illegal?
That's supposed to be the government.
Why?
And not all Zionists agree with the government either. Do you think that?
What's that?
That all Zionists agree with the Israeli government right now.
I have no idea what each individual person...
Exactly.
Right, I have no idea.
Okay.
Right, so what did I say? I just said, if I was a victim of Nazi Germany, I would not exact that treatment on the people of Gaza. That's me. If you would, you would.
I wouldn't say it's the same thing.
Well, I would say it is.
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
I wouldn't say Israel's plan is to kill every single person in Gaza.
Was it? No, just to drive them away.
What do you mean drive them away?
I don't know how. Who knows the plan? I don't know.
You just made that up, though.
I don't know the plan.
To drive. Okay.
I don't know the plan. All I know is that they use any excuse of self-defense to kill people, men, women, and children, and it's acted like it's a war when it's not. It's killing. It's genocide.
It's not
Nothing,
genocide.
It's genocide.
I disagree with that.
Well, I don't care what you believe.
But it's not.
And whether you disagree with me.
I understand. It's
Right.
about what's what. But how can you say it's genocide if the population of Palestinians, let's say since 1948 until today, has risen threefold almost? How do you claim that genocide?
Say it again.
The population of Palestinians in the country from 1948 or from, let's
What
say,
was the population in 1948 of Israel, of Palestinians?
but I don't know exactly.
Well, you're just acting like it's gone up.
It has.
Right, so what was it?
I don't know exactly.
So what is it now?
Now, all the Palestinians in the country, including,
All the Palestinians in Gaza and the
including
West Bank.
including Israeli Arabs?
Yes.
Yes. Then it's about, you've got 3.5 million in the West Bank, 2 million in Gaza,
Right.
and about 1.9 million in Israel
Right.
proper, so to say. So it's about
6-7 million?
Yeah.
How many was it prior?
much less. So how can you say it's
How
genocide?
do you know it's much less? What was the number?
I don't know exactly. I can search up for you if you want, but
Yeah, go on.
it's maybe 2 million, something like that.
Search it up. And are you saying killing men, women, and children? What is genocide to you?
Systematic, trying to kill a whole population.
Right.
Systematically.
Okay. And are you saying killing men, women, and children? What is genocide to you?
Systematic, trying to kill a whole population.
Right.
Systematically.
Okay. See, I find it hard to believe there was more Palestinians.
Okay, let's see. It's got here demographic history of Palestine. Yeah.
So there was less, saying there was less when they first started. All the refugees that went to Jordan and all around, and you're saying there's 5 million more now.
Sorry, say that again.
So you're saying there was 2 million in 1948. Then the
Let's say.
displacement and all the ones went to Jordan. Yeah.
And not all over the world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What?
Unfortunately.
What do you mean?
It's not a good thing.
Well, that was the plan.
Carry on.
Right. So what you're saying is, so we start with 2 million,
Let's say.
and
now we've said it's 7 million.
now we're saying 7 million.
So
So
how do you claim it's genocide? That's my question.
yeah. So I'm trying to show me the 2 million, and show me 7 million. All right. Because this is your claim. There was 2 million Palestinians in Palestine before Israel invaded. Yeah. And then during that invasion, you got some would have gone to Egypt, some would have gone
Okay,
to.
look. First of all, let's establish. It's known that the Arab population of Palestine doubled during the British Mandate era. So
Yeah.
there's over 1.2 million in 1948.
One second.
Just read that line because that's the starter point. Okay.
Okay. Whether
Yeah.
there was significant Arab immigration into Palestine during the 19th and 20th centuries, especially after the beginning of the Zionist settlement there in the late 19th century, has become a matter of some controversy. It is known that the Arab population of Palestine doubled during the British Mandate era of 670,000.
Like every other country.
Yeah.
England doubled as well.
Well, so
And then what does it say? 1.2 million.
One second.
Carry on reading.
To over 1.2 million in 1948.
You see?
There,
And now, if you want to carry
What
on.
was the population of England?
and there has been a considerable
I don't know.
debate.
You don't know.
Yeah.
That's just natural thing.
I didn't say it wasn't.
There has been
we're
a
talking about
considerable
something
debate
else.
over the subject
No,
of how
no, he's saying it's a
this
genocide.
grows.
Yeah, we're
I'm
talking
saying
about
Anyway.
killing men, women, and
Grab my
children.
phone
One
back.
second.
Okay.
I'm saying killing men, women, and children.
Yeah.
is genocide. Yes, I'm saying that. If you don't believe it or not, I don't care.
Genocide
If you're
is,
saying they have to kill every single person, then we have a
think-
different understanding of the word genocide.
let's look up the word genocide definition if you want.
Oh, one second.
Can you define genocide?
Well,
Yeah.
he is.
Can you define it?
I think killing men, women, and children indiscriminately because of who they are. Yes. I don't know. Is it? What do you think it means? Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Yeah. Genocide, the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what the people of, I've seen the people of Israel calling for. Yeah, the final solution.
I would say
I've seen
it wasn't in majority, I would say.
And Turkey with Armenia as well. That was
Yeah, that probably was. As was the Crusaders in Jerusalem.
terrible things done in France. you're interested in the population of Israel today, how it's broken down.
Yeah. We're just trying to...
Yeah, he'd like to see that as well, wouldn't you?
What's that?
The population of Palestinians.
Jewish 75.6%, Muslim 18.6% currently. Today, 2021.
You're saying that like it's a fantastic thing.
I'm not saying one thing.
No, it's like 18% is like, wow, we're so blessed.
I'm just giving you the facts.
I understand.
I'm not in this argument at all.
I know.
I have this every year. I got 20 copies.
All right, just one second.
About 20 years. Very useful book to have.
What is the book?
The Economist Pocket Roll in Figures.
Okay, wow.
It's got the GDP of every country.
In which years?
Note in the world.
In which years? Population.
20, well, the population of Israel in total, I will tell you, is 8.4 million.
8.4 million. Okay. So 10% of that is what? 830,000, and then an extra 3%.
Life expectancy.
About 900,000 Muslims. Yeah. So 900,000 Muslims in 8 million people in Israel. All right, fair enough.
Number of households, 2.5 million. Marriages per 1,000, 6.2. Divorces per 1,000, 1.7.
Yeah. It's going backwards here, man. It's supposed to go forwards. Here we go. British mandate. 1922 to 45. Arab migration to Palestine of 40,000 to 42,000.
It's that as well. We're not talking about that.
No, I am.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
50,000 Arabs emigrated to Palestine from neighbouring land. I'm trying to get past 1940 flipping thingy.
Past 1948?
Yeah. 1 second.
I think if you go a lot on, because it's divided into the periods.
Yeah. In 1974, steady demographic. 900 Muslims per year would dictate.
You're losing followers now. You're losing spectators.
I don't care.
Population age 0 to
My spectators, see that camera there? They're my spectators.
Right, so it's all filmed.
Yes.
Okay, so not really.
What?
I don't know. I just made a side. I don't mind debating with you, but I didn't really want to be on camera.
Well, welcome to the world. Say hello, Mum.
It's a bit late for that.
Okay, in 1974, a study demographer Robert Batchy estimated that about. So all we're arguing here is whether or not killing men, women, and children indiscriminately. You're just saying what amount of people do you have to kill for it to be described as
and if that's the case, would you call Syria a genocide? Even though it's not as well, even though it's terrible.
Syria's a genocide. Yeah. What you mean with Assad dropping bombs on? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Why is he dropping bombs on them particular people?
To kill the rebels. Isn't it?
Who are the rebels? What's the difference between the rebels?
People want to throw.
What's the difference between them?
I don't know.
There you go. That's the problem.
Britain bombing Dresden just before the last war ended.
Genocide?
Genocide?
Was it Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Genocide?
I've never heard it described as genocide.
Yeah, but you've got to remember one thing, you see. Whenever Britain do something, we have a different word for it. So, for example, if you go to emigrate to Spain, if you go to if you go to live in Spain, you're an expat. Yeah, if you go to live in Australia, you're an expat. If you're foreign, you're an immigrant. So for some reason, when the British go everywhere, we're not immigrants anymore. We're always an expat. Yet when it's someone comes here, a Spanish person comes here, they're an immigrant. It's madness. This is what we do.
Depends what context you're putting it in.
Right. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get to the part where I'm getting. Okay, so Palestine estimate 6.1 million Palestinians for that area, while Israel's Central Bureau of Statistics estimate 6.2 million. Gaza estimated by the Israeli Defense Force have 1.7 million, the West Bank 2.8, and Israel proper has 1.7. Okay.
So I was more or less accurate with what we're...
Yeah, well, birth rates and such.
Yeah.
You know, like my man said, how many people in England in 1948 and today? How many billions and stuff?
Less than 40.
So,
Can I have my phone back now?
yeah, of course you can. So it's just very simple. The only dispute we have is what is the number? What is the number of men, women, and children you have to kill for it to be classed as genocide? What name would you use for killing men, women, and children if it doesn't reach that kind of figure for genocide?
No, a genocide for me, the way, because...
No, what would you call that though?
I don't know.
Murder?
Murder.
Just murder.
Killing, whatever you call it.
Murder.
Murder? Yeah.
Murder. There's been a murder. So basically, so what you're saying is Israel is murdering people of Gaza, yeah? Right. I'm not sure with that.
But you would call that genocide, wouldn't you?
Me personally, if you're killing men, women, and children because of who they are, I believe yes.
So
whether I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what they've got planned for the future. All I know, in Israel's history, whenever Israel wants to expand its borders, it will create a self-defense idea that is defending itself. Israel has only ever expanded its borders under the guise of self-defense. So I don't know what they've got planned in the future so they can utilize that flex. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have this conversation in 5 years and you'll surround me and say, you know what, you were right. They were after them. Who knows?
Okay, but you would call it a genocide.
I would say killing men, women, and children indiscriminately because of who they are. Yes.
So
Well, you cop it bombing Gaza. How's that not genocide?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Well, that doesn't say so in the Oxford English Dictionary.
What does it say? What does it say?
That's what I'm saying.
It says killing a lot.
You
It does. It says exactly what I said.
You just read out in detail.
What did I say?
Genocide
What did I say?
I can't remember.
I
but
can.
You've got it on
I can
there.
remember.
You've got it. Do it again.
I don't have to. I remembered. Shall I tell you what it says? It says killing a large number of people because of their ethnicity or who they are,
And to wipe out
with the ultimate
what's
aim.
a large number for you?
What? I don't know.
What?
What is a large number?
Exactly.
There's
So
only
I
a
asked,
small
you're
number
defining
in
it
the
now.
bloody country
Well,
as
you
a whole.
define a large number then, because
No.
you said. Well, one second. I quoted the dictionary. Large number for me. If you kill more than 20 people for no reason, just because of who they are, that's a large
In
number.
one day, in what time
That's
span?
not
In what
the
time span?
definition of genocide.
What's the
It's
definition?
not, but he's
I'm
defining
not
it for
on
himself.
your-
That's why I'm
not
asking.
on
Oh,
your
sorry.
side or his side.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we're not on
No
side.
disrespect.
Maybe we even
No
agree.
disrespect,
I
my
just-
friend. You ain't the judge. All right. Can you tell me what large is?
Well, 6 million Jews in the last war.
Okay. Is that it?
No, I don't know how many Armenians.
So when you say the word large,
Like 1.5 Armenians, 1.5.
so when you say the word large, so large has to be millions. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it depends on the population of the country.
What about 2,500? What about 2,500 people?
There's only 8 million of
What about 2,500 people? Is that a large number?
That's not genocide. I don't think.
No, is that a large number though?
Every death is a
There's
tragedy.
a large number of people here today.
Yeah. So it's 2,500 people a large number.
You're waffling around on differences. Don't misunderstand me. I am pro-Jewish and pro-Palestinian. I've been speaking here for 45 years, and I've been defending the Palestinians for 45 years.
But-
the injustice that's been done to them.
But you should be saying.
So don't give me any waffle about
But you've just said pro-Jewish and pro-Palestinian. Why
How
not
does that work
pro-Jewish and
out?
pro-Muslim?
Where do you go, mate?
Why did you use religion for one and ethnicity
No,
for the
because
other?
Jewish is also an ethnicity, maybe.
No, it's not.
Maybe it is.
No, it's not.
No, I mean, some people believe it is, some people believe it isn't. You believe it isn't, but I'm saying maybe you believe...
Okay. So the Palestinians are all Muslims, so why not say
No,
Palestinian?
they're not.
Are they not?
No, it's Christians. It's atheists as well. You don't know what each person believes. Because Muslims by belief, Jewish is not only by belief, it's by ethnicity as well. What? You get me? Should I say that again?
No, so you're saying a Jewish person,
Yeah.
we know has to be born a Jew, but we don't know who's born a Jew, do you? Come from Poland claiming to be you're Jewish, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows you're Jew?
Yeah, but they sort of, even if they're not the original Israelites, that's what you want to say. Like, you don't know, maybe. But even if they're not, they're still the Jewish race because they sort of only married with each other and created a sort of distinct genetic,
Well, you're telling me...
They only married with each other, so they're sort of a race.
Listen to me, you're telling me those Israeli citizens coming from Boston and all these places,
Yeah.
they're only marrying each other? Really?
Yeah, they are. What do you mean? Jews only marry each other, like, generally speaking.
Well, even all non-religious Jews?
Today, you're right. Today,
Screw the word genocide.
Oh, thank you.
yeah, we've had that.
Yeah. The term genocide was coined in 1943 by the Jewish-Polish lawyer Raphael Lemkin. So he invented the word. Really? Who combined the Greek word, using the Greek word genos, race or tribe, with the Latin word side, to kill. After witnessing the horrors of the Holocaust, in which members of his family except his brother was killed, Dr. Lincoln campaigned to have genocide recognised as a crime under international law. His efforts gave way to the adoption of the United Nations Genocide Convention in December 1948, which came into effect in 1951.
Which doesn't mention numbers.
Okay, anyway, we're done for this. So thank you. I'm done with the conversation. All the conversation. Anyway, I want to apologise, man, if I upset you for your having an issue. No, seriously, I want to apologise, all right?
I want to just one point on genocide.
Yeah, and yourself, sir.
Don't worry.
No, because I know. You touched on emotion. We know the history. I know it must be emotional.
It's painful.
I get it. And you hear someone just flippantly talking about I get it. So please don't take that. Go on.
Me personally, we too, for example, on different pages when it comes to the state of Israel. Me personally, oppose the state.
But one little point is that I want to clarify.
I can tell who was supporting the state. But go on, carry on.
One little point I do want to clarify is when he mentioned between Jewish and Palestinian, he said religion and not religion. Now, it's a good question, and many people are very confused. What does the word Jewish really mean? And let's give a little background history to it to understand what the Jewish really means and how it refers to it. Now, that means is if you're a Muslim, for example, you can't say that I don't believe in Allah, I don't believe in the last, as you would call him, Prophet Muhammad, and consider yourself a Muslim, yeah?
Right.
Because that's the foundation of Islam, is the first, that there's one God, La ilaha illallah, yeah?
Yep.
Next, you can't be a Christian, because of a Christian, and not believe in Jesus Christ as your savior, or as God, or as son of God, or any of those. Basically, religion means is that you follow a higher power, a spiritual, it could be a book, it could be a way of thinking, and that's what it means.
Yep.
Now, you can have Muslims who are British, Muslims who are from Africa, who are African, you can have from Moroccan, and you can have a Moroccan who is a Christian and a Moroccan who is a Muslim, and the religion is their belief, and who they are could be any other ethnic minority in the world, and from any race anywhere over. But what it means to be Jewish really is to understand one thing is, the Jewish people themselves never adopted the name Jew. We would consider ourselves our name as Bnei Israel. It adopted as Israelites, but it adopted, when did it adopt that we got the name Jewish? Is if you go back in history, there are two Jewish kingdoms in the state of Israel today. You had the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. Now, the kingdom of Israel were obliterated by the Assyrians, and those are the 10 tribes that we consider today the 10 lost tribes, and that Rudy Rahman went to try to visit when he got now arrested in Nigeria. And then you had the kingdom of Judah, that lasted for another few hundred years after the kingdom of Israel. Now, when the Jews of the Israelites from Judah left or were expelled from Judah, they were sent into Persia, today Iran. And the name they came, the people asked, who are these funny people who come here? What are they from? They are from Judah. They are from Yehuda. That means that Judah is a geographical location, and these people come from that geographical location. Something interesting about these people were that they had a tribe, they were tribal, they had a culture, they had a language called Hebrew, and one of the things as well that they had was a religion, because they were tribes long before God revealed himself on Mount Sinai. So they were the Hebrews, they're the Israelites. Now, that means that you could be born Jewish, and a Jew like me and him and any other Jew, without believing in God, without believing in the Torah, he won't be a religious Jew, he won't be a practicing Jew, but he'll have his same yearning back to his ancestral homeland where his name Judah comes from, that geographical location.
If he is from that tribe.
That means let's first talk about that, and then we can take the next stage if we're going to go into Europe and all that. But let's first take the Jew born anywhere in the world that is an ancestral, that his ancestors were in Judah, and that's the name they have today. Judah is because it's the geographical location. These people went through 2,000 years exile. In this 2,000 years exile, they packed with them a suitcase. In this suitcase, they packed the culture, the language, and between it as well their religion, and the yearning home back to their ancestral homeland. Now, throughout the 2,000 years of exile, many people packed their suitcase differently. Many people said it's too heavy to pull around the suitcase for 2,000 years with a religion, so they said religion out the window. Sadly, it pains me a lot, but that's the fact. You do dawah, we do kiruv. We do kiruv. Kiruv means we try to bring people, Jewish people, back to its religion, back to its source. Other people who's gone, they said, no, religion is going to be first, and then you're going to have the language, the Hebrew, and after that we're going to have the homeland and all of that. It's all packed. That means there's no difference to Jew, wherever he is. This is his suitcase that he comes from. And that means it's not a religion. This people have a religion. The Jewish people have a religion that some of them adopt and some of them don't. These people have a language that some of them have adopted, some of them haven't.
Right.
These people have a culture, some of them have adopted, some of them don't. These people have a history going back 4,000 years.
Right.
Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, Samuel, Joshua, David, King Solomon, going through before the kings, the hundreds of years of judges, the hundreds of years of kings, under many different rules, prosecuted over thousands of years, sadly mostly by Christians, and sadly as well in many parts by our Muslim brothers as well, that we had our greatest times. The golden era of Judaism, where it expanded, was now. These people have all packed their suitcases, and when you say what the word Jew means, a Jew is one all-encompassing word that takes this all into consideration. It takes in, yes, he has a religion, he might not keep it, but he's Jewish as me. Yes, he has a homeland. What makes them Jewish is that they are children from this geographical location, from this tribal, from this. Now, so first of all, let's take stage one. Stage one is, this is what the word Jewish, this is that the Jewish means. Now, who is a Jew?
Yeah.
Now, there's a few ways to determine it. There's one way to determine it, is how the Jews themselves consider it. How does a Jew use this terminology? When I meet another Jew, or when another Jew meets me, how does he accept the Jewish people? If it's his tribe, how does he accept the person to belong to his tribe? If he says everyone with one sock, orange, one green, is considered Jewish, then that's their tribal understanding of it, then he is Jewish according to the Jewish people, and that's what counts. Now, if these people say that being Jewish means that your mother is Jewish, then that's what it counts, because this is what this tribe...
Do you believe that?
This is what I believe.
Do you believe your mother has to be Jewish?
I personally believe, yes, my mother has to be Jewish, or you can convert to Judaism. I wouldn't advise it. You can convert to Judaism.
So if you convert to...
And that itself can't make it a ethnic, also not ethnic minority, because you can convert into this family.
Right.
But it's very interesting that it isn't a religion like any other religion. It isn't an ethnic minority like any other ethnic minority, because it's an ethnic minority that you have an entry into it. And that's what the word Jewish means. Now, so one, we said what the word Jewish means. Two, who is a Jew? To me, who is a Jew? Every person who is Muslim Jewish or has converted to Judaism.
Right.
That is what I consider Jewish.
Right.
Now, people will say is, well, you got the Ashkenazi Jews, the Sephardi Jews, and you got that. The simple fact is, we are all Jews. That means the Ashkenazi Jew will say the Sephardi Jew is Jew, the Mizrahi Jew is a Jew. The Mizrahi Jew will say the Ashkenazi, the Sephardi, and Mizrahi Jews, and everyone will agree that everyone is a Jew. No one will make a takfir. He's not Jewish because he's a Sephardi. He's a takfir because he's Ashkenazi. Takfir is not a Jew because he's a Mizrahi. Because what it means a Jew is, if your mother is a Jew and we all accept it, and your father's Jew. Now, when we were sent into Rome, when we were in exile into Rome, by the Roman Empire, when we were shipped onto boats, onto gallows boats, into where we split between Ashkenazi and Sephardi, where it started this historic split between. Yes, we converted people within the local population to convert it into Judaism, and once they convert into Judaism, they are Jewish like any other Jew, like it's written in Leviticus. What the Jew means, they're considered a Jew to the letter of the law, and not just that. That means is in every way he's a Jew. That means there's a word in the Torah that's used for a person who enters Judaism called a gay, and there's another word that's used. That means is, as long as you had your kingdom, you had the people who lived within the kingdom who weren't Jewish, also called gay. The gay, the foreigner who lives within you as well. Now, the rules for the foreigner who lives within you is you have to treat him without a jizya, without a tax, without anything, like your own. There's no difference. If you're a foreigner in the kingdom of Israel, in the kingdom of Solomon, or in the kingdom of David, or any of the other 50 or 60 kings you had, every single one of them, if you live within the kingdom of Israel, then you're treated like a Jew, with the same laws and rules, bind them. But furthermore, that means is once you convert into Judaism, it's not the same laws apply. You are the same Jew, like a brother who is born from a mother. And that's what the word Jew means.
What's your point?
Thank you.
What's your point?
It's not just a religion, that's my main point.
Okay.
It's not just a religion.
I didn't say it was just a religion.
He asked him why he used the word religion when it came to...
No, but the way he differentiated between the Palestinians.
But listen, Palestinians, you do have Jewish Palestinians, you have Christian Palestinians, and you have Muslim Palestinians.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
I could have read that on Wikipedia probably, but thank you.
I saved your time. I hope so anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have taken...
I've got no issue with that. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Hebrew Israelites would have a problem with that and their claims, but I'm not Hebrew Israelite, so...
I'm all right.
Really...
With them, I'll debate them separately. I'm all right with them. It's a very easy debate to have with them.
Oh, is it? What's the best argument then against the Hebrew Israelites?
The best argument of the Hebrew Israelites, it's very simple. And it goes back to history. That means you had two kingdoms. You had the kingdom of the 10 tribes, the kingdom of the 2 tribes. The kingdom of the true tribes lasted longer than the 10 tribes. And for these 2 tribes that lasted longer, we have something called the مثيرة. That means is that we have a connection that bounded us together for many years. That means is the Jews in Yemen, who we had no connection with over the 2,000 years in exile, follow the same books and the same way we practice today in Europe. The Jews who lived in the Arabian Peninsula follow the same as the Jews in Spain and in Europe. And with them we had a connection that lasted longer, so we know who they are. The 10 tribes who the Syrians attacked the kingdom of Israel were sent into exile in a far more vicious way, that they had to keep their identity in a very tight,
just so I understand, you're saying you accept the Hebrew Israelites.
I accept if they have their history said that they are the part of the Israelites, then I have no way of knowing, because we lost contact with them many years before.
And what is their argument against you?
The argument against us?
Yeah.
That they think that they're the only ones. That means that little...
Yeah, so what is their argument against you?
The argument against me is?
Yeah,
the main argument is what they want is that we should recognize them, and I do.
No. That's not what they say.
Thinks that we are...
They said...
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I'm not going into that debate.
No, but I want to
if you want to know that, you could watch it with Ali Dawah. I had a conversation with him about this topic with Ali Dawah on YouTube.
Thank you for the information.
Pleasure. Nice meeting you, Hamzah.
Take care. That was information, wasn't it?
السلام عليكم. لا تنسوا الاعجاب بالفيديو والاشتراك في القناة تشجيعا لنا لنستمر بنشر المزيد إن شاء الله.